about what went on at Bowman Gray Stadium, the things that happened. And again, as I said, maybe there might be a difference of feelings of opinion on things that went on. I wanted to get that, but I will also tell you that I have tried for the last 4 days to reach out to John Boy Brown. He has not accepted the invitation, but this driver has. Somebody I've known in modifieds for over a decade or more. In the number 4 entry at Walnut Cove, North Carolina, Torn Series champion, Bowman Gray Stadium modified champion, Jason Myers. Good morning.
Easy. I ain't quite won that many championships.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Just working.
It's always good catching up with you, but I think it's kind of not in the best of circumstances for this one. Talk about the chaos that went on at Bowman Gray Stadium Saturday night in your own picture.
Well, I'm not proud of what happened. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to have to do that. I don't like seeing people do it. I'm not a fan of it. We don't need that in our sport.
Right.
But we fall victim to our surroundings. When you race at Bowman Gray Stadium your entire life, it's hard to explain. If you hang around enough dogs in your life, you're gonna get bit, and you're probably gonna bite back. You have to. That's what the world is. It's Bowman Gray Stadium racing. I've lived it. I've lived it as much as anybody can. I've been over there my entire life. But you just fall victim of your surroundings and what you have to do to survive. A lot of people call it racing, but it's also survival. And you do what you got to do to survive.
And
we're like a pack of wild wolves out there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are. It's what it is.
And the craziness is behind Bowman Gray Stadium is, this is the longest running NASCAR sanctioned track in the history of the sport. There has been so many rivalries I look at back in the old NASCAR Cup days being at Bowman Gray, where Curtis Turner and Bobby Allison had their cars have a battering ram demolition derby in the infield. The Myers and the Millers, you've been through those ringers with each other. And now it looks like John Boy Brown has now stepped into the gunfight with the Myers family, with you personally, Jason. But this has stemmed for about 5 or 6 years. Talk about where this really come to you being taken out for a championship.
It did. It started years ago, and Jonathan took me out of the points championship that night, and not necessarily did he cost me the championship.
Right.
But when I'm running third with 10 to go in the final race of the year, second in points, and you spin me out, you're sticking your nose in where it don't belong. I felt like he did it just to make a statement. And from there, he's made several statements over the years with the back bumper of my race car. And I just get to the point where I've had enough. I've never crashed anybody on purpose. Right. You know what I mean? I don't race that way. I'm one of the most respectful race car drivers to ever sit in one. I grew up with my dad driving a race car. The first time I ever sat in one, I had respect for the other people that raced around me.
Absolutely.
And the fact that I feel like I've been getting disrespected from him for years, and I've had enough, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. It's just one of those things to where it's same way Junior Miller was. The last few years he ran, he would go out of his way to run into me or to knock me sideways or to spin me out just for self-satisfaction.
NASCAR.
And if you need self-satisfaction, you're not going to use me to get it. You're going to have to do it somewhere else.
NASCAR.
And
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say NASCAR threw down the gauntlet yesterday. It wasn't Bowman Gray Stadium per se, but the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, and a $1,000 fine for both of you drivers and a one-race suspension. Do you agree with that?
I don't, but I don't. It's Bowman Gray Stadium's the only part of NASCAR that's not dying. You know what I mean? And to me, NASCAR should be sitting down there taking notes instead of throwing the red flag at them. Now, I don't agree with what happened Saturday night. Gray should have put a stop to it years ago. The racetrack allows it to go on,
right? And
we fall victim to it. You know what I mean? It's part of it. It's like it's hard to explain. It really is. It's like If you send an innocent man to prison, he's going to end up turning just like everybody else in prison. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be the good guy and stay the good guy forever. He's going to eventually turn bad just like everybody else because he has to fit in, because he has to do what he has to do to survive. And that's what this is. And that's the way Bowman Gray Stadium has been since 1948. That's why they can't fit enough people in the grandstands. That's why they got more race cars than any other racetrack in the country.
Right.
That's why there's more people at Bowman Gray on Saturday night than there is sitting at Loudon on Sunday afternoon when the Cup cars are there. That's why Bowman Gray is what it is. But for them to step in now and try to put, I feel like it's personal almost. I feel like they're attacking me and Jonathan for not doing anything nobody else has done. I'm not saying what we did was right.
Right.
But do we deserve a $1,000 fine and a 1-week suspension?
Do you think the better way of doing it might have been both of you guys climbing out of your cars and just putting up fisticuffs and beating the hell out of one another? I mean, instead of turning your cars into basically.
Why does it matter? Well, what's the difference? What's the difference? Because 2 years ago a guy got killed for getting out of his race car on the racetrack. Right. And everybody said, don't get out of your cars, don't get out of your cars, don't get out of your cars. Oh, well, in this circumstance, maybe y'all ought to just get out and fight. That's not what we're there for.
Right.
We're there to race. I didn't show up over there with boxing gloves. I showed up over there with a race car in a trailer.
Yeah.
That's what I went to do. That's what we do. I'm not saying I don't want to fight. I've left there wanting to fight half the place to get out of there for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
right.
But it's not about fighting. It's not a fighting contest. It's a race. And we're there to win. And sometimes when people are trying to win, some other stuff ends up happening and you end up tearing race cars up.
We're talking with
That's what racing is.
We're talking again with Jason Myers, and again, as I said, I gave the opportunity for John Boy Jonathan Brown to also be heard. Now, I spoke with his PR reps. They are going to release a video tonight or an announcement from him tonight at 7:00. He feels like because they did unveil a video last night that you got into him. But I will say, if you look in different angles of this race, it looks like there's different ways. It could be that Jonathan came down on you. You got into him. What's your take of what went going on down the backstretch before all that chaos ensued Saturday night?
You know, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If the law is chasing a guy for robbing a bank and they finally get to him, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, by the way, you ran this stop sign right here, too. Why'd you do that?
That's right.
That's totally irrelevant. When Jonathan got into me and spun me the first race Saturday night, all he did was put me in a position to do what I had to do.
We got you.
This has been coming for a long time. When a man goes to the racetrack with the mentality of, I'm going to tell you what, I've had enough, and the next time he touches my race car, I'm going to take care of it, and he spins me out the same night, it's been coming for a long time.
And you're saying, and Jason, you're saying that NASCAR and Bowman Gray Stadium's Greg Garrison knew that this was brewing, that this was basically on the climax of what happened Saturday night.
Not necessarily, because there's millions of, there's hundreds of pots brewing every Saturday night at Bowman Gray Stadium. There's a fire in everybody's gut. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got revenge they want to take on somebody. Everybody's, it's that's what it is. It's an adrenaline rush. That's what it is. But it gets to a point where when you get run over by the same car week in and week out, year in after year out. The thing is, Jonathan wrecked me a few weeks ago on double points night. I was second in the points going into that race, and I was leading the race when he wrecked me. Okay?
Gotcha.
He didn't just flat out intentionally wipe me out. But because he doesn't have any respect for me, he turned down over the side of my race car and tore the right side of my race car up and knocked me out of the race.
Right.
If he would have had respect for me, that wreck would have never happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Last year, a different situation, but same deal. Jonathan's brother gets in a car, and it's the first race he's raced all year, and he wrecked me on the last lap on double points night. And I was ahead of Jonathan in the points when that happened. Well, when that happened, I fell from second in the points back to fourth and was knocked out of the points race. For 2 years in a row, I've been knocked out of the points championship by him and his brother. For no reason. No reason. So I'm a victim of my environment, man. You know what I mean?
What does Big Brother Bert say about it?
You know what? Bert's been through this. You know, he's been through it a lot. He's been over there a lot of years. He's had confrontations with a lot of people, and you know, his take on it is, you know, you do what you have to do. Nobody can make that decision for you. You do what you think you have to do because you're the one sitting in the race car.
We're talking again with Jason Myers, driver of the number 4 modified from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, getting his take of what happened at Bowman Gray Stadium on Finish Line. Of course, presented by All About Wraps, CrateInsider.com and DirtCarLift.com. Coming up next will be Brandon Overton. Jason, does this take you out? Obviously, being suspended a race, now fined $1,000. Do you have the right with NASCAR? Can you do like the regional or the national NASCAR teams can do? Can you appeal? Can you try to protest this to try to race on Saturday, or is it pretty much it has to stand?
You know, there's always an appeal. You know, it's sort of like a court system. It's a court system that doesn't involve a jury that's of my peers. Right. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, the appeal board's basically the same board of people that fine me and penalize me. So if I appeal it, I'm only appealing to the people that made the decision the first time. So I feel like it's a waste of time.
Right.
I could appeal it, and, you know, by the time they got to the appeal and looked at it, I could get to race this weekend, but I don't think they're going to change their mind because I don't have an argument. You know, what can I say? I didn't do it. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I can't say that. I did hit a guy. I did use my race car to run into somebody under caution. So, you know, I don't have an argument. And it would end up just me being suspended from a later week, or it could backfire on me and they could not get to it till after the last race and they could suspend me the first race next year.
Jason, do you feel that because it was justified of what happened on the racetrack that it's okay to do, but if we done this on the road, Highway Patrol would be locking you up for road rage?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different when you're strapped in a race car with seatbelts and a helmet than when you're riding down the interstate. But you know, it's not something I'm proud of. I hope I never, ever, ever, ever in my life ever have to wreck somebody on purpose again, or ever have to run into somebody's race car not under competition, ever. Am I prepared to do it again Saturday night? The next time I go back, absolutely. If what I've been putting up with doesn't stop, then the crashing of the race cars can continue. Has just go racing now.
Has Gray or has Jonathan Brown or John Boy, has anybody, has he contacted you? I mean, I know obviously you're not on the Christmas card list with each other, but I mean, has there been any type of an olive branch extended of, hey man, what happened Saturday was stupid. We do not need to let this happen again.
I have talked to Gray. You know, obviously with the suspension and the phone call I got from Daytona, you know, I have had a couple of conversations with Gray, but I haven't talked to Jonathan. Will I talk to Jonathan? I don't know. I'm willing to talk to Jonathan if he wants to talk. If not, I'm good with that too. You know, I'm pretty easy to get along with. You know, it's one of those deals where we go to the same school and we're in the same class, but we can ignore each other and pretend we're not here, or we can halfway get along, or we can keep tearing race cars up. Either one. But I'm not going to keep going out on the playground every day at recess and get picked on.
Again, Jason joining us here on Finish Line, and he's talking about what happened at Bowman Gray Stadium. And, you know, you threw this out at the beginning of our interview, Jason. You said that this is what the fans want. Why do you think that is? Why do you, I mean, you know, what is it about Bowman Gray Stadium since the 40s that has packed that place out at Winston-Salem State University? Because let's be honest, it is a track and field. I've announced several football games across the country. There is a racetrack right in the middle of a football field, or in the middle is a football field, and that is the same implement that is Bowman Gray Stadium. Why does it work in Winston-Salem, but nobody else across the country could do something like that?
Well, it's pretty simple. You know, if let me try to put it to you like this.